Growing up, Naomi had always known that she was different. She was the only black girl in her small town in the Midwest, and sometimes it felt like everyone was staring at her. But she had never let that stop her from pursuing her dreams. After college, Naomi moved to New York City to work as a journalist. It was a big change, but she loved the energy and diversity of the city. She worked hard and made friends with people from all different backgrounds. One day, while working on a story in the financial district, Naomi met a man named James. He was tall and handsome, with a warm smile and kind eyes. They struck up a conversation, and Naomi found herself drawn to him. Over the next few weeks, Naomi and James went on dates and explored the city together. They laughed, talked, and shared their hopes and dreams. It was like nothing Naomi had ever experienced before. As they grew closer, Naomi realized that James was the person she wanted to spend the rest of her life with. She was a little nervous to bring up the subject of marriage, but one day she finally worked up the courage. "James, I know this is a little sudden, but I can't imagine my life without you. Will you marry me?" James's eyes widened in surprise, but then a smile spread across his face. "Yes," he said, "I will marry you." They hugged each other tightly, and Naomi felt like her heart was about to burst with happiness. Over the next few months, Naomi and James planned their wedding. They decided to have a small, intimate ceremony in Central Park, surrounded by their closest friends and family. They picked out flowers, found the perfect dress, and worked together to make all of the arrangements. On the day of the wedding, Naomi felt like she was floating on air. She put on her dress, took a deep breath, and walked out into the park. James was waiting for her at the end of the aisle, looking dashing in his suit. As they exchanged vows, Naomi felt like she was making a promise to her best friend and soulmate. She knew that they would face challenges as an interracial couple, but she was confident that they could face them together.
After the ceremony, they held a small reception in a nearby restaurant. They danced, ate delicious food, and laughed with their friends and family. It was a day that Naomi would never forget. Over the next few years, Naomi and James built a life together. They moved into a beautiful apartment in Brooklyn, where they filled their home with art, books, and memories of their travels together. They supported each other's careers and hobbies, and they were always there for each other through the ups and downs of life. As they explored the city together, Naomi felt like she was discovering new things about herself and about James every day. They tried new foods, visited museums, and took long walks through the city. It was like they were exploring the world together. One day, as they were sitting on their balcony watching the sunset, James turned to Naomi. "I want to start a family," he said, "with you." Naomi's heart skipped a beat. She had always dreamed of having a family with James, but she had never been sure if it was something he wanted to. "Me too," she said, smiling. Over the next few months, they prepared for the arrival of their first child. They read books, took classes, and talked to their friends and family about what it would be like to be parents. They were nervous but excited for this new chapter in their lives. When their daughter was born, Naomi felt like her heart was going to burst with love. She looked at James and felt overwhelmed with gratitude that he was her partner in this journey. Continue. They named their daughter Maya, after the poet and activist Maya Angelou. Maya was a beautiful baby, with James's hazel eyes and Naomi's curly hair. They spent long hours watching her sleep, marveling at the tiny fingers and toes, and wondering about the life she would lead. As they settled into parenthood, Naomi and James realized that their marriage had brought them even closer together. They had always known that they were different in some ways, but they had come to see those differences as strengths rather than obstacles. James loved to cook, and Naomi loved to write, so they often spent evenings in the kitchen and the study, each pursuing their passions while sharing the space with each other. They supported each other's work, offering critiques and encouragement, and celebrating each other's successes. One day, Naomi received a job offer from a major news outlet in San Francisco. It was an exciting opportunity, but it would mean leaving behind the life they had built in New York. James was supportive, but he was also hesitant about uprooting their family and moving across the country. Naomi understood his concerns, but she felt that this was the chance of a lifetime. She had always wanted to live in California, and the job would give her the chance to cover stories that were important to her. They talked it over for several weeks, weighing the pros and cons, until finally they decided to take the plunge. They packed up their apartment and moved across the country, settling into a cozy house in San Francisco's Sunset District. It was a big change, but they were excited to explore their new city and make new friends. As they settled into their new life, they discovered that San Francisco was an incredibly diverse and accepting place. They met people from all different backgrounds, races, and cultures, and they felt like they belonged. But they also realized that there were still challenges to being an interracial couple, even in such a progressive city. They sometimes received stares or comments from strangers, and they occasionally encountered people who made assumptions based on their race. It was difficult at first, but they found that being open and honest about their experiences helped them to connect with others and to challenge stereotypes. They volunteered at community events, participated in discussions about race and identity, and made a conscious effort to seek out diverse perspectives. Through it all, they remained committed to each other and to their family. They loved taking Maya to the beach, hiking in the hills, and exploring the city's many neighborhoods. They laughed, danced, and shared their hopes and dreams, knowing that they were building a life that was grounded in love, respect, and mutual support. Years passed, and Naomi's career flourished. She won awards for her reporting, published a book, and became a respected voice in the world of journalism. James continued to cook amazing meals, and he began to explore his passion for photography, creating stunning images that captured the beauty of the world around them. Maya grew up to be a confident and compassionate young woman, with a deep love for music and a strong sense of social justice. She was proud of her diverse heritage and often spoke out about issues of race and equality. One day, as they were sitting on the beach watching the sunset, Naomi turned to James. "Remember when we first met, and we talked about all the things we wanted to do with our lives," she said. James smiled. "Of course I do. And look at us now. We've built a life that's beyond anything we could have imagined." Naomi leaned her head on his shoulder. "I'm so grateful for you, James. For all the love and support you've given me over the years. I couldn't have done any of this without you." James kissed her on the forehead.